The O'Reilly Factor's on tonight.
You should change the nominee.
That will not happen, and it should not happen. Hatred is dominating Congress, and that...
I want you all to know that we are fighting the fake news. It's fake, phony, fake.
An explosive new report from Fox News says of the Trump campaign. If true, that's huge.
Why is Columbia so liberal?
I don't know that it is.
Really?
Also ahead, Jesse Waters going to one of the most liberal universities in the nation to talk to the students.
Do you think Fox News is welcome here?
Yeah, why not? I'm talking to you guys.
Caution, you are about to enter the no spin zone. The Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Civil war in Congress. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. It is really all about hating Trump, not partisan politics. There's no doubt that Judge Neil Gorsuch is qualified to sit on the Supreme Court, and he will. Confirmation coming on Friday, one way or another. Republicans in the Senate must prevail on the judge, or the entire party and the president will be gravely damaged. And that's exactly what the Democratic Party wants. The strategy is simple. Oppose every change the president wants to make, everything he wants to do. Create as much mayhem as possible, then tell the American people that Mr. Trump doesn't know how to govern. And meanwhile, the American people get hammered because worthy persons like Judge Gorsuch are disparaged and innovative policies are sabotaged. I mean, did you watch any of those Gorsuch hearings? I don't want to compare the judge to Jesus, but it was exactly the same thing. Democratic senators acting like Pharisees, trying to trap the judge into saying something controversial, trying to paint the man as someone not worthy of being on the court. Now, fair-minded folks respect sincerely held political differences. I know I do. But political hit jobs are obvious, and that's what those hearings featured. Gotcha questions designed to demean the judge. So we now have an opposition agenda primarily based on hatred, not what's best for the country. Just listen to the rhetoric on the left. It is as vitriolic in the extreme. The Trump haters justify their behavior by saying the president is destroying the country. The issues of illegal immigration, global warming, national security have created fury on the left. And as Talking Points stated last week, moderate Democrats are under heavy pressure to support the hate Trump strategy. It's very interesting to watch. Missouri Senator Claire McCaskill declared Judge Gorsuch as being cold, against the regular folks. Missouri is trending Republican these days, so the senator may soon come to regret her stance. Finally, many Republicans opposed President Obama's agenda. There was little common ground there. But 5 GOP senators voted to confirm the very liberal Elena Kagan to the Supreme Court. President Obama got his trade authority, and debt limits were raised. The system was strained under Mr. Obama, but it functioned. Now, political hatred is directly threatening our republic. And we, the people, will pay a huge price if things don't change. That's the memo. Now for the top story, reaction. Joining us from Washington, Charles Krauthammer. Am I overstating things, Doctor?
Yes. Look, I'm sure there's an element of Trump hatred in just about everything the Democrats do on Capitol Hill. But there is nothing like, in the Gorsuch hearing, the level of vitriol that there were in the Bork hearings when Reagan was president, or in the Clarence Thomas hearings when George H.W. Bush was president.
But those men were much, much more conservative than Judge Gorsuch is. And I will grant you...
I don't think you can say that about Clarence Thomas. At the time he was head of EEOC, there was nothing outrageously conservative about him. That was just a political hit job of the first order, and it was all personal.
So do you think... I know you don't, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. The hatred against Ronald Reagan was at the same level as Donald Trump?
I don't. That's why I don't think that this is about hatred of the president. I think this has to do with the fact that Democrats decided, and it began, there's no doubt it began with the Bork hearing. They decided that 200 years of tradition, which was you should generally approve a judge who was somehow educated, intelligent, experienced.
Yeah, a good record.
Scalia was approved 98-2. The difference ideologically between Scalia and Du Bois was practically nothing. They decided, however, that the court, they had to have the court, because liberalism is not a majority opinion in the country. It's a minority. It's about 20%. And if you wanted to continue to dominate the way that liberals had, you weren't going to do it through the Congress or the presidency, where the people decide. The only way to do it would be to control the court.
And that's where we are today.
And that's where they went. But it began with Borg. It's not to do with Trump himself or Trump hatred. That's an element.
I can't believe it. You don't see it. Expand it out.
I can't believe you see it.
Okay. Expand it out. Is there anything that Donald Trump has proposed, from a crackdown on illegal immigration, to the wall, to taking regulations away and letting the fossil fuel industry do more, to the pipeline, to national security, to vetting people in countries that can't vet? Is there anything that the Democrats have, so far, have supported? No. Nothing.
Bill,
zero.
Expand this out. If Gorsuch were the nominee and Ronald Reagan were president, or George H.W. Bush were president, do you think the Democrats would be any more accommodating and wouldn't try to bring them down?
I can't answer that. It's a
the
speculative
answer is no.
question. Maybe
well,
you're right,
course. Well, so
but you haven't refuted. Look, there isn't anything that Donald Trump campaigned on, anything that the Democrats will support. Not even improving the economy by having a tax cut. All right? Not even that. Not even revamping Obamacare, which has punished working Americans. They are not going to support anything. They hate him. They can't stand his face.
Well, look, I'm glad that there's at least one psychiatrist in our discussion. It appears to be you. You seem to have this direct insight into the motives. I don't know the motives. For some people in the Congress, perhaps yes. For some, no. The Occam's razor, the more parsimonious explanation is this. It makes political sense. The party is enraged. As you know, they lost an election to a guy that they either despise or think unworthy.
That's it. You're saying what I'm saying.
They cannot get over it.
You're saying what I'm saying.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
Saying,
Occam's razor and all that. And by the way, that's a tenet where you just boil things down to its simplest form. They are so angry they lost and they can't stand him.
The problem with your argument is the they that you use is indistinct, can be used for anything.
No, it's a Democratic hierarchy.
The politicians are responding to the threats and the demands of the base. They don't want to be primaried. So you're a Claire McCaskill. You know you're in danger next time you're up for re-election.
She's going to lose.
But you're worried about a primary. Does she hate Trump? I don't know. You don't know. What we know is she wants to be re-elected.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know. And you know what? And another thing, and one more thing before I let you go. The Washington Nationals are Krauthammer's team. The Mets are going to stomp you this year. They're going to beat your butt. Just you
All
heard
I
it here
can say is, so much error, so little time.
All right, next on the rundown, will the Democratic Party admit that hatred for the president is getting out of hand? We'll find out. Then a shocking report says the Obama confidant Susan Rice, the ambassador, was involved in Trump surveillance. Grid Hume upcoming. Continuing now with our lead story, hatred of the president disrupting the republic, in my opinion. Joining us from Austin, Texas, Marjorie Clifton, a Democrat. So, do you acknowledge the hatred in your party against President Trump?
Well, I don't even know that it's party specific. And I think there are a lot of people that have strong emotions related to him because he's done a lot of things that evoke emotional responses. Like you talked about with the wall, comments he's made about women. Those have hit chords that go beyond just politics. But when it comes to things like the hearing that we're talking about, I actually think that's separate. And what is, like you talked about, the base being fired up, that's going to energize politicians who have to go back and run their elections after they place their vote. So
look,
does that influence? Yeah, it influences.
There may be some of that, but believe me, we did a survey. People don't follow the Supreme Court like that. They don't know who Neil Gorsuch is. They don't watch the hearings. We're talking about the general folks here, not people who watch the O'Reilly Factor. This is a good man, Gorsuch. You would cede that, right? Honorable man?
He seems such. I mean, and I agree that this may not be the food fight that it would be worth in a different climate.
Okay, so he's a good man, and his record on the bench is stellar. It's a stellar record. And then when he was appointed to the lower court, all the Democrats went along with it. Okay? So now they don't. And it's not because of Gorsuch, it's because of Trump. They don't want to give Trump the big win. And it will be a big win for Trump on Friday. You know it.